Hi, it's Keith from IELTS Speaking Success, and today I've got 5 more ways to improve your answers for the IELTS Speaking Part 1. And today it's all on the topic of rubbish. No, honestly, rubbish. I mean trash, garbage, junk, whatever. Let's get into it. So tip number 1 is get to the point. Sometimes in IELTS, students are taught in the training schools to say, that's a good question, and I'd like to answer it in 3 parts. Firstly, blah, blah, blah. Secondly, let me add, no, stop that. That may be okay, some of it, for part 2 and part 3. But in part 1, get to the point, really. So if the question is, do you recycle paper? Then your answer might be, yes, I do. I think it's really important. At home, we separate the paper from the other rubbish. Simple as that. Hi guys, it's a quick advert just to let you know I'm now giving one-to-one classes on the internet with students across the world through iTALKi. If you want to take your English up to the next level, follow the link below to iTALKi to find out more. Now, let's get back to those tips. Tip number 2 is to learn to use synonyms. Synonyms are really important to give a better and richer answer. Synonyms, of course, are words with the same meaning. So let's take 3 examples. Let's take rubbish. Rubbish, in America, I think they call it garbage and trash. We say the rubbish bin, they may say the garbage can. Junk is another word used both in Britain and America. Waste is a very general word for rubbish. And maybe litter, at least with the t, that's definitely British, litter. Dirty. Now there's a really useful word when we're talking about rubbish. So we can talk about dirty, messy, untidy, filthy if it's really dirty. The opposite, of course, if we're talking about clean and keeping things clean, well, we can say spick and span. How British is that? Spick and span. Spick and span. It's a nice binomial, spick and span. A more common binomial is neat and tidy. Keep it neat and tidy. Brilliant. And tip number 3 is to know the typical questions. Now, if you've watched the other videos on emails and perfume, you'll be learning already some typical questions. Today, let me look at these 3 about verbs, okay? So commonly you may get, is it important to verb? Why do some people verb? Have you ever verbed? Verbed, great. So these can be very, very common questions. And what might that look like for rubbish? Is it important to keep the streets clean? Why do some people throw rubbish on the ground? Have you ever thrown rubbish on the ground? Okay. The other typical questions that come up in this section are, what do you do when you see rubbish on the street? And can you suggest why some people throw their litter on the ground? Now, tip number 4 is answer types. And if you've watched the other videos, you'll already have seen quite a few different answer types for part 1. Let me give you one more today. And this is the answer type, yes, so. And it's great if you're talking about opinions, okay? So, for example, is it important to keep the city clean? Yes, I'd say it's really important. So, I take care not to throw rubbish on the street. And for number 5, here's one more answer type, and it's the yes, otherwise. And this is really good for the important question. Is it important to? Yes, otherwise, giving a consequence. So for example, is it important to keep the city clean? Yes, absolutely. We should keep the city spick and span. Otherwise, we'll end up living in a slum. Great. And now I'm going to move on and invite my friends Tom, Dick and Harry, who will come in to show you how to enrich your answers. They have a bit of a focus today on synonyms, of course, and one or two nice phrasal verbs. So let's get in and see what Tom, Dick and Harry have to say about rubbish. Is it important to keep your city clean, Tom? Yes, it's important. We need to put rubbish in the rubbish bins, otherwise the streets will be dirty and it's just unhealthy. Dick, is it important to keep your city clean? For sure, I think it's essential. We need to be careful not to throw rubbish on the streets, otherwise the streets will be a total mess and that can also lead to health problems. Harry, is it important to keep your city clean? Absolutely. I'd say it should be everyone's priority. We should avoid littering at all costs. Otherwise, the streets just become filthy, and on top of that, it can pose a health risk to the community. So let's look at how each of Tom, Dick and Harry answer. Tom says yes, it's important. Dick uses a nice synonym. For sure, it's essential. And then with Harry, we've got absolutely for emphasis, and he uses priority for a synonym, and the opinion, I'd say it should be everyone's priority. Next, Tom says things as they are, put rubbish in the rubbish bins, a bit repetitive. Dick has a nice negative sentence, be careful not to do something. And Harry uses a great form, avoid littering, it's a nice synonym, and the lovely idiomatic expression, at all costs, meaning whatever happens. Now we have the lovely otherwise clause. The streets will be dirty, says Tom. Dick uses a synonym, a total mess, and Harry uses a different synonym, become filthy. And so finally, Tom says it's just unhealthy, nice use of the word just. Dick uses a nice expression, it leads to health problems. And Harry has a lovely expression, it can pose a health risk to the community, showing a very wide range of vocabulary and flexible use. Excellent. Well done, Tom, Dick and Harry. Great, thank you Tom, Dick and Harry. So I hope you can see how synonyms can really help you build richer answers. Remember, start practicing right now. If you've liked this video, please do subscribe today. And I have a question for you. Is it important to keep your city clean? Give me an answer. Start practicing, answer in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much.